Hello and welcome to another part. This is part 3 and in this part we'll be connecting to the database. For this application we'll be using the MongoDB database and our work will be in the API. So in the API we have already set some variables in the environment. In the .env file we have the MongoDB URL, which is MongoDB which is the protocol with the host and the port. Plus we have the MongoDB name, which contains the database name. So if I go to the src folder, the index.js, I'm defining here the URL and the database name. So for the URL, I can change the name to db URL, make it more clear that this is a URL for the database. First, I'll get the Mongo client from the MongoDB package. So I'll get the MongoDB client, which is a JavaScript class from the MongoDB driver, which we have downloaded in the first video number 1. With MongoDB client, I can create a client that will connect to the database, whether on my local host or on the cloud. For our development environment here, we are using the database on local host. So you don't need to create any database or tables when using MongoDB. They will be automatically created when you need them. So here we'll create a constant, we'll name it client, which will be equal to new instance of Mongo client class. Now for the parameter, we need to provide the DB URL. All right. Then options in the second parameters. Now for the options, use unified topology. We need to set it to true. This will tell the driver to use the new unified topology. Actually, there are 7 topologies. Each one is responsible for certain type of connection. So by using the use unified topology, which is a new topology, will handle for us the setting the right topology. Next, we'll use the use new URL parser, which is true. The use new URL parser will require that we define the URL properly in this format. So first thing, the protocol, then optional here, depend on how you are authenticating, the username and password. Then after username and password, we need to define the host, followed by semicolon, then the port. All right. Now after getting the client instance, now the client instance contains a method called connect, which will connect to the database, and it's an async operation. So to use the new await async, I can create a function. I will make it async, so it's an async function. I will name it run connect, for example, and inside of it I will await for the client.connect method. Once it's done, I will then await for the client.db, which require the DB name as parameter, which I already have it stored in a constant. Now here I got the connection to a database. Now to test that it is working properly, I can send a command. All right. Now this is a testing command which does nothing. So the ping is just for testing, and here the value could be any number or any string also, it works. So here, once this operation, the await, is done without an error, I can log on the console that the database is connected. All right. Now to catch any error, I can use the try catch block. Now if I receive an error, I will console.error couldn't connect to database. This will inform the user in the console that the connection the connection to the database has failed. I can also console.error or let me say log the error. So we could check the error in the console. This is some basic error handling and success case handling. We may change it, of course, in the future. Now we have the connections that connect to the database. All we need to do is run it, call it. We call the connection and it should connect to our database. Now here, what will happen? We connect to the database and immediately we create the server by listening to the port specified in our environment. This is it. So let's try it. All right, let's yarn run dev. All right, so I need to go to the folder API. Here I can run the yarn run dev. We choose the nodemon to keep our server running. So we have the app listening on port 3001 and we are connected to the database. So here we can make sure the application is working. Local host 3001. All right, here it is, the only route we have. So we have successfully now connected to the database. We can improve this code, but I don't see now the need to improve it. All is good. Once we feel that we need to improve the code, we will. Let me move these couple of lines to the top. All right. So here we are defining the app. Let me define the constant first, then the app creation with some general settings for the app. Then we'll create the client for the database. Here we have a function that we have defined that will connect to the database. Now we run the function. You remember, this is an async operation, so the script will continue while this is running. Now app.get will be added to our app. So we are adding a router here. And the same app here will run a local server by listening to the port specified in our environment, which we are getting, remember here, this is the port we are getting from the process.env.port. So this is very simple, and this is the end for this video. I hope you'll this video will clear things up about running simple server like this. See you in the next part.